think there's no need for an intro on this video, because if you've read the title, you already know what's up. But just to make things crystal clear, in this video, I'll be answering some of the questions you sent me about, well, pretty much everything. So, grab a snack, sit back, and let's dive in! William Stormrage, whose name I often confused into William Storage, hit me with an interesting question. What game mode should be added to IDV? Now, that's a juicy topic, especially because I've got the perfect idea to soothe the souls of all those hunter mains who can't stop whining about how the game is so survivor-sided. Introducing the ultimate answer to their woes, reverse mode. Now, you might be thinking, what is reverse mode? Survivors hunting the hunter instead of the other way around? Well, duh! That's basically what happens in every match already. No, my genius idea is a mode where the hunter is hunting survivors. But here's the catch. We flip the script on the numbers. Instead of one poor hunter being bullied by 4 survivors teaming up against them, how about a mode where 4 hunters chase down a single Helena? How epic would that be? I guarantee this mode would be packed right after every rank match, with hunters lining up to let off steam by going all out on that one elusive survivor. But why Helena, you ask? Isn't she too delicate to be tossed into that mode? Well, exactly. If we throw in Chi-Shi-Yi, Ganji, or Patricia, the mode would lose its charm because those survivors would probably still find a way to flip the script and hunt down the hunters instead. Helena, though? She's the perfect choice for some high-stakes hide-and-seek. It'd be the ultimate hunter revenge fantasy. Second question came from Eurydice, who asked, why did I get bored of IDV? Well, I've got 3 solid reasons. First up, it's because of my stellar ranking performance, or lack thereof. At one point, I was rocking a whopping 7% survivor win rate. Yep, you heard that right, single digits. Sadly, I didn't screenshot that legendary moment. But fear not. A few months later, I climbed the ranks to an impressive, wait for it, 11%. Now, you might be tempted to laugh, especially when the average IDV YouTuber is sitting pretty with a 55% win rate. I even saw a YouTuber in the public chat whining about their win rate dropping to 62%. I was like, 62%? Look, my peak was 47%, and that was when I was an A badge, Helena. How about you stop complaining and carry me to that 62% win rate instead? Get the hell out of here with your first world problems. Next, we've got those lovely pushovers. I quit ranking unless I'm about to drop below Mammoth tier, because I don't have time for bot matches. Now, I stick to QM or Duo Hunters because they're the chillest modes, but every now and then, you run into these hikikomori who treat QM like it's the COA finals. One little mistake, and they're spamming yo-yos like it's an Olympic sport. And that's not enough for them. They've got to unload a thesaurus of insults in the post-match chat. Luckily, I've reported a few, and NetEase hit me back with a "they've been punished" message. Fingers crossed it was something severe, like a forced break from their keyboard. And finally, the lore. Oh boy. What started as a creepy mystery with old Orpheus returning to Elidus Manor has spiraled into a circus of characters. Now, we've got a mermaid who swims above water, a semi-T-Rex that could jump from New York to California, and a creepy dude wearing a jetpack in what's supposed to be the late Victorian era. Like, what is this? A Victorian blockbuster with a side of sci-fi? Even Metal Gear's plot is more coherent than this. Mew asked me an intriguing question. If you could have any IDV ability in real life, which one would it be? Now, considering most of the abilities in this game are like the Avengers getting together at NetEase HQ, there are some wild choices. But if I had to pick just one, I'd go with the Perfumer's ability. For those of you who aren't familiar, the perfumer's ability, Euphoria, allows her to forget everything she just experienced, including the pain of getting smacked around by hunters. That's why Vera can get hit by a hunter and then be totally fine, like, what hit? Never happened. Now, I need this ability in real life to forget the fact that I usually kite for a grand total of 10 seconds before getting terror-shocked into oblivion within 12 to 15 seconds. But that's not all I'd want to forget. I'd also love to erase the memory of that dark time when I was rocking a 7% survivor win rate. And while we're at it, can I just forget that this game ever existed in my life? Yeah, that would be pretty sweet too. So, Oceanout hit me with a pretty wild question. How do you deal with a zombie apocalypse? Well, first off, let's get one thing straight. Zombies don't exist in real life. Unless your friend is planning to bite your neck because you ruined their winning streak by getting disconnected in rank match, you're safe. But let's play along and imagine they do exist. What's the game plan? Easy. If a zombie apocalypse ever goes down, just sit back and chill. Why? Because there's a Japanese company called Capcom that's got us covered. They've got an SS tier zombie hunter on speed dial named Leon Kennedy. Leon Kennedy is the star of a game called Resident Evil, which tells the story of some gangsters kicking zombie butt. This guy's got a fan base of swooning fangirls who wouldn't mind sharing a candlelit dinner with him, despite the fact that he's already got a whole harem lined up. Leon's the kind of guy who smacks zombies around and looks ridiculously cool doing it. He's got so much plot armor, even the zombies tremble at the sound of his name. He's so overpowered that one time, the whole world was on the brink of a zombie takeover, but Leon just smiled, and they all retreated. In one of the movies, he took on 2 giants with just a kitchen knife. But before he could finish them off, some jet fighters swooped in and saved the day. Lucky break for the giants. They dodged the nightmare of getting sliced up by Leon's blade. Honestly, he's probably the only guy who could go toe-to-toe with Chuck Norris. Now, I know some of you are thinking, but Silmina, Leon Kennedy isn't real. He's just a pixelated character. Well, so are zombies, duh. Stop letting your imagination run wild. Instead of worrying about a zombie apocalypse, maybe focus on something more pressing, like what's for dinner tomorrow. Next up, we've got a question from Joshi Gamers, who asked, if you could add something to IDV, what would it be? Well, the first thing I'd add is a magical green ping for the NA, EU, and South America servers. Seriously, those poor folks suffer endlessly because their ping is about as stable as a Jenga tower on a windy day. It's like the green ping is a mythical creature they've only heard about in stories. So, if I could, I'd gift them that sweet, sweet green ping. Next on the list, I'd overhaul the storyline. Let's be real, IDV's lore is more twisted and confusing than Metal Gear Solid, which was already a puzzle when it dropped and still is today. If I could, I'd just hit the reset button on the entire lore book and rewrite it into something people could actually follow. Less, who's this new character? And more, oh, I get it now! Third, I'd extend the rank match sessions and maybe toss in a few extra tiers. Now, hear me out. IDV's rank sessions are a special kind of frustration. You wait for 5 minutes, or if you're a mammoth, more like 50, just to get a match that often ends in less than 10 minutes. And sometimes you lose because, surprise, red ping strikes again. And with rank matches only available during a few hours each day, it's no wonder everyone has a love-hate relationship with it. While we're at it, let's talk about tier lists. The real tier list in IDV isn't about ranks. It's about who has the better skins. Honestly, from what I've seen, if you've got the flashiest skins, you're automatically a pro in everyone's eyes, regardless of your actual skill level. And unfortunately, I don't have either, so I'm just gonna excuse myself from this conversation. But seriously, maybe if there were more tiers in the game, people would start caring more about skills than skins. Well, maybe. Mira asked me a few questions that I found pretty entertaining. So, let's dive in. First up, she asked if my eyes still look like a dead fish. Now, if you've been watching my videos, you might know that I got rejected from a few job interviews because of my, let's say, aquatic gaze. Turns out the issue wasn't just my eyes, it's my entire face. My face is so pale that even ghosts do a double take when they see me, probably thinking I'm one of them. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they got scared too. But hey, being called a dead fish has its perks. I mean, doesn't that make me sound smart? Full of omega-3 and all that. The second question was whether I'd rather be stranded in the jungle with Dr. Maines or Joseph Maines. Now, that's a tough one, but considering there's a chance we might run into a bear or a tiger and possibly get eaten alive, I'd choose to be with Dr. Maines. Why? Well, because in every matches, Dr. Maines are the first ones to get chased. So, in the worst case scenario, I'm betting the tiger will go after them instead of me. Survival of the smartest, right? Lastly, Mira asked if little girl Maines are actually demons on a mission to destroy the sanity of every survivor Maine. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The little girl is the Antichrist. But of course, no one believes me. She's disguised as this innocent, cute, helpless little girl, but in reality, she's capable of wiping out entire countries just by tossing her cursed paper around. She could go toe-to-toe with Ultraman, and if IDV ever had a crossover with Dragon Ball, Goku would have to watch out for his new rival, Little Goku. Lester hit me with a deep question. What's your biggest regret in IDV? Honestly, that's a tough one, because playing IDV is pretty much an endless cycle of regret, especially back when I was a rank match junkie. After every rank match, I'd sit there thinking, why did I put myself through that today? I could have spent that time feeding Elizabeth instead. Oh, Elizabeth is my goldfish, by the way. And when rank matches got too unbearable, I'd sometimes catch myself watching Elizabeth, thinking, maybe I should just cook her to release all this pent-up frustration. Poor Elizabeth probably has PTSD from my rank match sessions. But if I had to pinpoint my most regretful moment in IDV, it's definitely the time I wailed for Kohanitsu Yuri during the XXX Holic crossover. I threw down like 4,000 inspirations trying to get her, and what did I end up with? The Seer skin. That's right, the one skin I had zero interest in because I don't even play Seer. Talk about a disaster. So, yeah, I definitely regret dropping those 4,000 inspirations. In hindsight, I should have just gone all out and spent 10,000 to bring Kohane home. She's still my favorite skin, by the way, and I'm still kicking myself for not getting her. Leah asked me which IDV characters I'd want to meet in real life. Honestly, there's just one character at the top of my list, Alistair Ross. Let me tell you why. First off, I'm in awe of her composure. I mean, she went through a bitter tragedy at just 6 years old. At that age, I was crying over spilt milk, while Alice had to deal with the slaughter of her entire family. And if that wasn't enough, she had to endure people calling her an accursed child. Well, even though we all know the little girl's cursed, that's still a lot to handle. So, I'd love to meet Alice just to offer her some comfort for everything she's been through. The second reason? She's a journalist, and, as some of you might know, I was a journalist too, back in the day. But here's the thing. Alice is a top-tier journalist. She's out there investigating dark secrets, facing danger, basically doing everything a badass reporter does. She's like the Tintin of IDV. Me? I wrote for a magazine that covered aquatic life. My beat? Fishes. What the hell am I supposed to do with that? Investigate how they ended up in some old lady's frying pan at a street food stall? Or maybe interview them about how it feels to be grilled? It's like, hey Oliver, how does it feel to end up on a grill? What seasoning did the cook add this time? And Oliver's all like, it feels good, buddy. Feels good. The heat is just right, but the seasoning is a bit off. Oh, and I'm not Oliver, by the way. My name's Jack. Oliver's the one being served to that fatty guy over there. Have a nice day, Miss Journalist. Well, that's awesome. So, since we're both journalists, I'd love to chat with Alice over coffee about what it's like being a top-tier reporter. Because what she does is pretty cool. Uncovering secrets, having a broad knowledge of everything, and being a badass. Meanwhile, there I was, interviewing fish. Cyan asked me about identity switches in IDV. If that ever happens, what character would I want to see switch identities? Honestly, I'd love to see a survivor marry. Now, I know Nettie's kinda fumbled with Mary. I mean, they based her on Marie Antoinette, the last queen of France. But then they go and introduce Mary de Capet in Ashes of Memory 2, who, in my opinion, looks way prettier than Marie Antoinette. But back to the point, even though it's about as likely as a green ping for NAEU, I'd love to see Mary as a survivor. Just picture it. Mary with her mirror ability, sneaking into the mirror world, just like Joseph, dodging the hunter's grasp for a few precious seconds. It's like, oh, you thought you had me? Nah, I'm just chilling in the mirror world. Catch me if you can. Well, that's my wild idea, but hey, a person can dream, right? This user hit me with a double whammy. One about a Resident Evil crossover, and another about some singers I had to Google just to know who they are. First off, the Resident Evil crossover with IDV? I'm all for it. I mean, having Leon Kennedy or Jill Valentine running around in elitist manner sounds pretty epic, right? But here's the thing. What version of Resident Evil would we get? Will we see Leon Kennedy coolly dodging hunters? Or just Ashley Graham screaming, "Help!" every 2 seconds? I can't even begin to picture how that would go down. But I'm sure it'd be something. Now, about Ariana Grande and Madison Beer, yeah, I had to Google them, and I kinda regret it. Turns out, they're singers with songs I've never heard before, and honestly, I'm probably not going to listen to them anytime soon. Why? Because I'm not really into Western music. My jam is Japanese music because, well, I'm just a weeb who spends way too much time watching anime when I'm not getting bullied in rank matches. My favorite singer right now is Nayuta, whose song is playing in the background as we speak. She's got that perfect blend of anime vibes and catchy tunes. There are tons of other Japanese artists I love, but listing them all would take forever, so I'll spare you. That's a wrap for this Q&A session. I might do another one, so keep those questions coming, whether it's about my favorite IDV hunter or how to solve the world's food crisis. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next time!